Okay, so I'm in my shop and I've got this 632 unit that I just purchased, and I just want to go over how I make a decision to purchase a used Sub-Zero. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the model, and I'm going to look at the year and date that this was produced. And this was July 2005, so it's about 16 years old. That's fine. I love the 600 series, and I like most of these units built after around the year 2001 at this point. And I want to just give this an assessment based on how I feel about the frame and the hardware on the doors, and just really how this unit has fared up over these 16 years. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to look right around the doors. This is a plastic unit, so you'll see little stress cracks here. That's not a big deal. You just don't want to see any major giant cracks. You don't want to see any rust forming on the hardware down there. And there's just a very little bit surface layer that we can just clean up. The next thing I want to look at is I want to shut the doors, and I want to look and make sure that the doors are nice and straight, and they're like perfect on top here, just about. The door on the right is just a millimeter too low compared to the one on the left, and then I look all the way down the unit, and the gap in between the doors is perfectly fine. These panels can easily be replaced. I want to check the doors. I want to check the gaskets and make sure that they're soft and not torn. This one has a little tear on the bottom all the way through. That may need a gasket one day. The door hardware is in excellent shape. All the bushings are in place. The freezer loves to close, and it gets solid shut. Real tight grip on that freezer. The next thing that we're going to do, because the frame and the doors all check out, they definitely do, is I'm going to take my little milk crate and I'm going to hop up here. When I jump up here, I am looking at your compressors and your fan up here. It looks like the fan is spinning just fine. It looks like it's already been replaced. You shouldn't really worry too much about that. I can tell it was replaced. Look at the wire ties. The next thing I'm going to look at is on compressors. After around 2002, these were sealed units. This doesn't have a valve on it. There's nothing to access the sealed system. That indicates to me that it's never been opened up. No one has ever done service on the sealed system, on the compressor, or on the interior of the unit, the gas lines, because there's no valve. If there were a valve soldered on here, or a pierce valve, a piece of metal that goes through it so that you can take a refrigerant reading, I would know that it had been tampered with, and I would know, okay, this machine's been worked on before. Not the end of the world, but you know, not ideal when you're looking for the perfect 600 or 700 series to put in your kitchen. The next thing is that zip tie. That's direct from Sub-Zero. That is a red zip tie. They always used a red zip tie in the factory, and it's never been cut, meaning that the filter's never been changed. Also, you could tell the filter is just factory. There's no cut marks or any soldering going on here. And then you check the freezer as well, same thing. So we have a fully original sealed system. Our condenser definitely looks like it could be cleaned. We have a unit that is straight as an arrow. So this unit is looking like an awesome candidate for a used unit. The next thing I want to do is I just want to go into diagnostic mode, colder and power on units after 2001. Anytime they got the bell button or after serial 181, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to go colder, unit on off, and you're going to go into diagnostic mode. You're going to hit warmer a couple times. These are your evaporator and cabin thermistor temperatures. You got two of each, one evaporator thermistor in the fridge, one evaporator thermistor in the freezer, and a cabin in each as well. And you're just going to go through here and just take a look at them. I don't have any service lights. I don't have any error codes on this machine, so I'm really not concerned. 45 degrees in the refrigerator cabinet. It's a little high, but the thing's not even running right now. And, you know, I'm just not going to base any judgment based on these, especially since I don't have any error codes. This unit is a beautiful 632. It's 16 years old. It's lived its first lifespan, and judging by how straight everything is, how the doors are straight and how the doors close well, I think this is an excellent unit to purchase used. I would not hesitate on this at all. The next thing and the last thing I might want to do before I buy this is I want to look under here. I want to make sure that the pan is there. I want to make sure that the legs on this are nice and straight, not rusted out. When I say legs, I mean these guys and this these rectangular tubes underneath that adjust the height and pitch of the machine. This one's got a little bend to it, but I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so If you want to know how to buy a good used unit, evaluate it first, the frame, the doors, the hardware. We want to take a look up top. Definitely go through diagnostic mode. We don't have any service lights or codes. If you want to be even crazier or go into this deeper, you can run through. You could watch my video on how to do diagnostic modes and temperature logs. You could run through the temperature logs and see that this is pegged at 34 degrees. So yeah, excellent Sub-Zero unit. Definitely passes the eyeball test. Not going into major diagnostics here, but just from that little computer panel, mixed with just eyeballing this thing. Great unit. It's a buy. And yeah, so that's how you would definitely just evaluate one of these things. And if you did have a service light and we had a machine looking like this, straight, you know, good doors, good frame, maybe we come up here, we see we're all original and we do have a service light, you're going to reference your error codes, go through diagnostic mode. If it needs a repair, you're still thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars ahead of the game, especially if you're in the situation where you need a used unit, like a 48-inch unit, instead of spending the $15,000, and it doesn't really matter to you whether or not it's brand new. Used may be the best option for you. And even with the service light unit that looks like this, I'm buying it. We'll get the grill on there, and someone will put this in their home if I don't put it in my own home. Yeah, so that's a good walkthrough on how to evaluate a Sub-Zero unit.